right, joining me today is Damon Wilson, who fights Marcio Barbosa at Dana White's Contender Series Week 3. That fight is on August 26th. So, Damon, when I talk to guys who are on the Contender Series, I like to start in the same spot every time. You know, it's a lifelong dream to make it to the UFC for a lot of you guys. You get the call to get the fight in front of Dana. What was the call like? What were the emotions going through?
Yeah, to be honest, a bit mixed emotions, believe it or not. I mean, obviously, I've thought about this moment for a long time, thought about that specific phone call for a long time. And right away I'm elated. I'm just over the moon excited, but then I kind of came down a little bit pretty quickly just because, the job's not done. I still won't have those three letters on that glove that night for that fight. So there's still work to be done. A good hard training camp and a real tough fist fight ahead of me. I'm looking to sign that contract. I'm not resting on my laurels just yet. So yeah, there's still work to be done.
And when you got the call too, were you expecting it? I mean, you're coming off those back-to-back knockouts in Cage Warriors, looked really good doing it. Did you kind of expect that this would be the next call?
Yeah, I mean, I've been, somewhat expecting the call for a while now just because of my fight style. I knew that I probably needed to get on a win streak. So I went on a 3-fight win streak, 2 KOs in a row. Both those KOs were pretty brutal with the knees. I headlined a main event. I took a fight on short notice. So I'm doing all these things that I feel like are necessary and that you need to do to get eyes on you. So I knew the eyes were probably going to be on me, and that's the main reason I took that short notice fight. And yeah, I was somewhat expecting the call, but you never know with this game, man. I've learned that you just gotta put your head down and win fights, and whatever happens happens. I can't control who they put into the UFC. I can control them giving me an opportunity, but thankfully they did, and I'm gonna take full advantage of it.
I love it. And how much notice did you have for this fight too? Because I know it's been 3 months since you fought. Right now we're talking it's a little bit over a month until you fight again. How much time have you had for if you're training camp here?
I actually got the phone call a couple days after my last fight, so it's been a while. I didn't know details. I didn't know opponent or a date or anything like that, but they said, hey, we got you on Contender Series, and so yeah, my mindset has been locked in on August, September, that time frame for several months now. I took a little bit of time off, to spend with the family, let the body recover. And then I got back right into, just training full time. I lived back in Illinois, so I was training back home for a while. And then I came out here to San Diego to do a 7-week fight camp. We call it a fight camp, but I'm always in shape. I come to fight camp in damn good shape to where I just have to sharpen the tools. So yeah, I've known for quite a while, but logistics, kind of came together a little later.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about, you've talked about your journey to get to this point. You know, you made your pro debut. Looking at your record, there were 3 years off after the pro debut, and the pro debut looked like it went well. Was there a reason why? Like, was there doubt? Like, what led to that 3 year layoff?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I try not to live with regret, but I have a little bit of regret not staying more active during that time. It had nothing to do with like not wanting to fight or anything like that. It was more so like, to be honest, I didn't want to be a broke fighter. Like I always like told myself like, no, I'm gonna figure out a way to not be a broke fighter and fight for money. I wanted to fight because I love to do it. I had a college degree, and like I still haven't used it, but I went and worked, and I was pretty much just working and making money, and I was still training. And what I would do is I would try to get fights like during the summertime when I wasn't working, when I had some downtime. And it just never really like fell into play for me because I'm a guy where I realized that I've got to be fully committed, especially in the fight game. Like when your life's on the line, when your health's on the line, Like there's no half-ass in it. So I just couldn't quite like fulfill what I needed to for a full training camp to take a fight. And I just got locked into that everyday life of just working and making money, man. And then finally I got tired of it and I decided to quit my job and focus on fighting full time. And that's where I really got my pro career started, with Cage Warriors. And it was during the pandemic. And yeah, it allowed me to focus full time on fighting and be my best self and put forth, what I felt like I could do in the cage. And then it turns out I'm a broke fighter, so I guess I should just went from the beginning, right?
That's certainly a strategy. Now, I want to ask you about fighting for Cage Warriors too, because almost your whole pro career, right, is with Cage Warriors. It's a promotion that's largely known as fighting out of London, fighting out of Manchester. I know a lot of your fights wound up being in San Diego, although, some of them overseas. What is it like fighting for a promotion that you kind of have to wait for their turn to come to you?
Yeah, it was a little scary at first. But I really, it was a blessing that they came over to the States. I wanted to get with a good credible promotion, so that I could really build my name, and they allowed me to do that. And I think when they first came over, they were doing like 3 cards in the States, and then I think they started doing like 4 cards. And basically I was just trying to get on every single one of them because I really didn't want to fight overseas. But then there were times where they weren't able to get out here 4 times a year. So I was like, well, I got to stay active. So yeah, I fought in London, I fought in Manchester. But man, they're an unbelievable promotion, well respected in the game. And I knew that I had to do what I had to do, and if that was going to mean, fighting overseas a little bit, it is what it is. And it just builds on that experience, and it builds on, the nomad name. I show up and I fight wherever they tell me to.
I love it. Now, I'm going to take us on a quick detour from the fight world for a second because, I've been on your Instagram. I love the burger reviews. So, you got to tell me what sort of got you into doing burger reviews on your Instagram?
Uh, Man, well, I love food. Like food in general is one of my favorite things. And when it comes to cheeseburgers, I mean, they're at the top of the list. Really anything that's meat, bread, and cheese, I mean, count me in. So a cheeseburger's right up my alley. And I think I just kind of started doing that just to have a little fun, lighten the mood. Fighting's so damn serious, and sometimes I get stuck in this this motivational aspect of fighting. And I think sometimes people get tired of that shit. So yeah, the burger reviews are just something fun that I like to do. And yeah, I need to keep doing a few more, especially now that I'm out here in San Diego. There's plenty of places to try out that I haven't been. So I'll probably be posting a few of those. And yeah, just trying to let people know a little bit more about myself and about my personality. To be honest with you, I'm a bit of an introvert. I don't do the best in public situations or in talking on camera, to be honest with you. But I knew that I was going to have to do that to better my UFC career. So I figure, a fun way to do that might be, giving burger reviews.
I love it. I love it. Now, I got to ask, too, you just said there are lots of burger places around. Can you do that in camp? Can you do that in the middle of getting ready for a weight cut?
Yeah, honestly, my weight is never really, I'm not like a huge featherweight. A lot of people are always like, oh, you need to go to bantamweight. And I'm like, well, that's a little crazy. But I think I'm an average size featherweight. And I do, usually what I do during camp is I go real strict during the week. Just real clean diet during the week. Just using that food as fuel for my practices, doing 2-a-days, ramping up training. And then on the weekends, I'll splurge a little bit, like I'll probably go out tonight. And now you got me thinking about burgers, so I'll probably go get a burger tonight. But to be honest with you, I think cheeseburgers get a bad rep. I mean, how bad are they for you? I mean, it's just meat and cheese and maybe a little condiments. And I guess the bread's not the best, but you can always do a sourdough or something like that. So yeah, I think cheeseburgers get a bad rep.
I love it. I love it. Well, we're looking forward to the next review. Now, let's talk about the other thing we're looking forward to, which is this fight. You said, the logistics kind of took a while to get to you, right? And they eventually come to you with Marcio Barbosa, a guy not from this country, probably hadn't seen a ton of his fights. What were sort of your first impressions on him when you got to looking him up?
Yeah, he's dangerous. He's dangerous. He's violent in his own right. I think his violence is seated in chaos, and mine dances on the edge of order and chaos. So I'm gonna find his chin before he finds mine. That's the game plan there. I think we're both forward pressure fighters, so it's gonna be interesting to see, who's able to take the center of the cage first and get the other one backpedaling, I like using my footwork as well, but I do like, I like pushing the pace on guys and making them uncomfortable. So I think he's I think he's a really fast starter. He's a good first round fighter. I really haven't seen a whole lot of him, in late in fights when things get grimy. A lot of that's because he puts guys away early, and fair play to him. But yeah, I think that I'm just gonna have to just fight my game, fight my game, and whatever happens, happens. I think he's top in Brazil right now in the featherweight division, so I think he's got a good reputation over there, and it's probably been a long time coming for him to get this opportunity as well. But there's not a man that'll stand in front of me on August 26th that's going to take this moment from me.
Well, you pretty much led me perfectly to my last question. I love to end these things with a prediction. You sort of flirted with it there in there, but give us the official one. How's this one end come August 26th?
Yeah, I got to put this guy away, man. I mean, to get that contract, I got to put him away. So, whether it be the right hand or the right knee, they're fighting for the record of most knockouts. I got 3 with the knee and 3 with the right hand. So, we'll see who wins that race, but it's going to be one of the two, I reckon.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. This is Damon Wilson, who fights Marcio Barbosa. Dana White's Contender Series Week 3. Once again, that fight, August 26th. Damon, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you, brother.